Okay, Vin Diesel, let's see if it's really good to see Xander Cage be back again. XXX, The Return of Xander Cage, directed by DJ Caruso, starring Vin Diesel as Xander Cage. So this is the third movie in the XXX franchise. These are movies that are very James Bond-esque with a 90s feel about a secret agent that goes on missions that the military really aren't trained for because he is more trained for stuff like this. This is a movie that has motorcycles that can actually go on water. Almost becomes like jet skis. So yeah, it's that kind of movie. And I was really hoping for just a dumb, enjoyable action film. And unfortunately, this movie is just almost too dumb and at the same time a little too serious. And very full of itself too. This movie feels very arrogant. I'll go into a little bit what I mean by that. So the plot is the government has this device called the Pandora's box that has control over satellites. It can make satellites actually crash down and kill people. These criminals have gotten control of this Pandora's box. Toni Collette's character brings back Xander Cage out of retirement to retrieve this MacGuffin, and Xander decides to get a team suitable for him to work with, just like a Fast and Furious film almost, like, and get the Pandora's box back for the government. Now, I was just hoping for just a dumb action film, really, just something to have fun with. Unfortunately, this movie at times is almost too dumb. Other times it's too serious, and there's also points where this movie just feels very arrogant and very full of itself. And then you have one character that's very, very, very annoying. So I really didn't like this movie, which is not a surprise considering this is coming out in January. I usually don't expect good movies to come out in January. Now, Vin Diesel is a good actor, even though he does movies that are not always that good. He usually has fun with these kinds of movies, and sometimes these movies are pretty enjoyable, other times they're not. So I was hoping that this movie was going to be very fun, almost like the Fast and Furious films. Unfortunately, this movie is just not that good. I really had a lot of problems with this movie. For starters, I didn't really like how this movie treated women. There's a scene where Xander Cage has sex with a lot of women to get some information about the Pandora's box, and he just says, "The things I do for my country." It's just, oh man, I mean, that's a bit womanizing even for a James Bond-esque like character. I don't even know James Bond would even do something like this. And I know how James Bond has sex with a lot of women, but that many women at once? And then there's the fact that this movie rips off a lot of scenes from other films. There's one scene between him and the woman that becomes his love interest, Serena, played by Deepika Padukone. I don't know how to say her last name, so I'll just put her name on the screen here. But first off, there really wasn't that much chemistry between those two at all, really. They tried to make her to be almost like Michelle Rodriguez's character in The Fast and Furious, but no, this woman is no Michelle Rodriguez. Michelle Rodriguez is a much better actress. And the scene that tries to establish some chemistry is completely ripped off from Lethal Weapon 4, almost beat by beat. There's a scene in Lethal Weapon 4 between Mel Gibson and woman that becomes his love interest in the movie, played by Renee Russo. And it was very similar to that scene where they're comparing wounds, or in this scene they're comparing tattoos. And I was like, that's what Lethal Weapon 4. What the heck are you doing? And then there are other scenes being ripped off from the Captain America films, Winter Soldier and the Civil War. And I was like, why isn't this movie just trying to be its own dumb thing? Why are you ripping off scenes from other movies? I didn't like that at all, really. And then there's his team. Most of his team is pretty forgettable, really. I mean, yeah, there's his love interest, who he has no chemistry with. And I did like the sniper character played by Ruby Rose. But the rest of his team is completely forgettable. And I really wasn't invested in them at all. And then Vin Diesel's not even my favorite character in the movie. My favorite character that I liked in the movie was a character that was almost portrayed to be like one of the villains, played by Donnie Yen, who I liked a lot in the Rogue One movie. I mean, he was awesome in this film. He really does a great job with his fighting moves and everything. And then you have Toni Collette, who's kind of like the administrator character, or the M character if you are looking at this in a James Bond-like way. And Toni Collette was a bit too serious in this movie, so I kind of wish that Samuel L. Jackson was playing that role instead, because he is much better in a movie like this. And he was in this movie, but he's in it way too briefly, unfortunately. And then let's talk about the most annoying character in this movie, played by Nina Dobrev, who is the Q in this movie, the tech character. I found this character to be very, very annoying. The only time she wasn't annoying is when she didn't talk very much. Other times, she was just really, really annoying. She even has a Jar Jar Binks-like moment where she drops a gun and the gun just kills a whole bunch of bad guys. And I was like, really? That is so Jar Jar Binks-esque. What the heck here? And she freaks out when she sees Xander Cage for the first time, like she's some Xander fangirl, which that was one of the main things that made her so annoying. Please turn down being such a fangirl, please. And that's when Xander does one of his stupid one-liners, I know mouth to mouth. Good Diesel. So, I really didn't like this movie, and some of the action scenes I thought were pretty cool. Aside from the scenes that Donnie Yen gets, there's this one scene where an explosion happens just as Vin Diesel's jumping out of an airplane, which you see in the trailer. Almost feels like a spoiler, really. I kind of wish that wasn't in the trailer, really. But what do you expect from a trailer advertising a movie like this? So, unfortunately, this movie's not good. I definitely don't recommend this. I'm going to give this movie a D, as in don't see Xander Cage XXX3. Unfortunately, this movie's not that good. The first XXX film I heard was pretty good, and I heard the second movie, which starred Ice Cube, was not good. So, unfortunately, this movie doesn't bring the franchise back really all that much. A little spoiler also, Ice Cube does show up in this movie, but even he doesn't really save this movie all that much. So, don't see XXX3. Don't even bother.